Our guest today, Fabrice Lena, Secretary General of the Popular Action Party, PAP, joining us online. Hello, Fabrice.
Greeting to you, Sir Babila. Thank you very much for having me as your guest in this program today.
All right, in one of your recent publications, you urge young people in the Republic of Cameroon to unite and put in the same energy displayed to support the indomitable lions of Cameroon during the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations here in the country. And you said they should put in the same energy in the quest for solutions to socio-political, security, and even economic problems plaguing the country. Can you tell us more about these?
Thank you very much, Babila, once more. Before I commence, I want to salute the efforts of some young people that are putting a lot of effort in the political field. I'm talking about Pachika Blaise, I'm talking about Chi Diodone, I'm talking about Kotem, I'm talking about Jiwum Emmanuel, I'm talking about Banejine Ellis, I'm talking about Modesquin Akilu, not to forget my friend and brother who is coming in to join politics, Mr. Bana Sema Ivo. So all these young people are putting a lot of energy into politics, and I really wish that more young people join us, because the tendency now in Cameroon is for young people to divert their attention to social issues. I know very well that football is one of those aspects that have been a source of unity, of collective social action in Cameroon from the foundation of our nation. As well, I really see that if we could put this same energy, this same enthusiasm into political issues, into actions that affect our society, like the Anglophone crisis calling for its end, like the rising prices of goods and services, say no to inflation, like the mobile money tax, say no to mobile money tax, and holding the government accountable for the expenditure of government budget, we will have more reforms, more changes, and we will do this non-violently and obtain good results, rather than young people scaring away from politics and abandoning it maybe to just some few whose voices are not significant enough to cause the kind of change that is required.
Right, you said, I quote, let's be keen to issues that directly affect us. We will be healing gradually, step by step. We will be fixing the country in a non-violent way. What exactly did you mean here?
Exactly, Sabadila. Once more, if you look at non-violent strategies in solving societal problems, it might take long, it might take a slow pace, but it is always the best strategy to get problems solved. The Anglophone crisis, from its onset, if we had to continue with the manifestations without necessarily going for weapons, I'm very sure that we should have obtained more reforms, and everyone will not have had, maybe some people will not have had the kind of suffering they are having today. What I mean step by step collective action, every youth on board here, is that if the number of Cameroonian young Twitter users, about 400,000, the number of Facebook users, all these people, the number of people that come to intervene in your program, Talking Point, below 35 years old, if all these people who constitute the large part of our population, who constitute the greater number of Cameroonian population, say, all right, we are going to take the government by this action and to demand non-violently, maybe by a collective petition, by collective protest, by collective appeal, any other means or strategies of non-violent action, even just hashtags on social media pressurizing the government and implicating or bringing such issues to the attention of the media and the international community, a lot will change. A lot will change. Remember that there are a lot of actions that the government has reacted to just from social media campaigns. So I'm saying that the amount of energy that young people put into social issues of entertainment, they will also put such things into politics. Once more, I think that politics define every sector of the economy, and there is no way you want to lead the society without necessarily partaking in politics. Every organization has its political policies, and politics is part of human nature. That is why we urge these young people to join us, to be part. Every young people will say that politics in Cameroon is for the old, is dirty, is this. Mr. Abia started politics when he was very young, at the age of 29. And most of these old folks that you're seeing around them. But it is not just about criticizing. It's not about giving up. It's not about apathy. It's not about not participating that is going to change the situation. Rather, when we choose not to participate, it gives them the power to mortgage our future and take any decision that it might be difficult for us to redirect, retract, or put in the trap of our interests as a particular age group of people who are suffering in the hands of very old people who have refused to relinquish power to the younger generation.
Many of the young people we saw supporting the Indomitable Lions in one way or the other either not concerned at all or partially concerned with some of the socio-political and even security challenges that the country is facing today. What do you think is keeping many of the young people from putting their hands on the deck in the quest for solutions to the socio-political and security and even economic problems that the country is facing?
You know, Sir Babila, many of these young people and Cameroonians in general have been traumatized with power, have been traumatized with the abuse of power. This is a reality in our country. And for a very long time, these people have seen leaders that have come up never to do anything in their interest. And promises that are broken, lies, and as we know, never reflecting the aspiration of the young people or even putting in place infrastructure or amenities that is good for them. So all these things have harnessed to make young people to abstain from politics. But I keep saying that abstention is not the solution, because these young people that are not concerned about security crisis are the very young people that are dying on daily basis in the northwest and the southwest, in the north region, and even when we look at the composition of the other metropolitan towns of Cameroon, Yaoundé, Douala, Bafoussam, Bamenda, Limbe, Boya, we discover that it is the very young people that are suffering the heat of unemployment, that are suffering social violence, that are suffering police intimidation, that are suffering government injustices as they seek to write concours. So if you are not concerned about this, then there is a problem. And young people have to learn that fear must be overcome, because one of the serious issues that is like the obstruction to young people's participation in talking about socio-political issues, security issues, is fear. They must learn to overcome fear. There is never a country where all its population are imprisoned. There is never a country where everyone dies because the government is bad. No matter how a government becomes monarchical, obsolete, or repressive, there must always be a voice for the voiceless. There must always be hope for the vulnerable. There must always be some people that will stand tall. And you can choose to be. And it is not even a matter of choice. At this point, critical moment, it is a responsibility. It is a duty. It is something that should not even be a call from any other one. But yet, we have to make our peers understand that we are doing this for the country, We are doing this for our future. We are doing this for the generation behind us. We are doing this because our own generation are unable to benefit from any good thing that the former generation put in place. We rather came in an era where we are supposed to be solving problems that have been created by the old people who will not want to leave power. So this should be a preoccupation to any Cameroonian youth, to any Cameroonian young person. Traveling across the Mediterranean is not the solution. Going to Europe is not the solution. Abstaining is not the solution. Becoming lazy and criticizing or castigating everyone is not the solution. Taking active participation and doing what you can do, I think it is the solution, because they say a drop of water gradually will make the person to get full.
Now, you said something very remarkable. Overcoming fear, the fear of being arrested, the fear of being detained, the fear of being tortured. It's a major issue that should be handled by young people. But the question is how? When they look at militants or supporters of Stand Up for Cameroon, civil society platform, arrested and detained and released recently after several months in detention, when they look at the arrest and detention of a Supreme Court magistrate, Justice Ayapol Abini, at the time of his arrest, he was still a Supreme Court magistrate, and many instances like the political leaders arrested here and there and detained, tortured, and things like that. And you were telling them they should overcome that fear.
Myself, Mr. Babila, have been a victim of such repression. Remember, I've been questioned in SED, Secretariat d'État de la Défense, several times. I've been at Commissariat Central numero 1 in Yaoundé, locked up there, thanks to the immediate intervention of our coordinated team that I was released. Mr. Babila, this is characteristics of an obsolete government. This is characteristics of a failed regime, a failed state. This is the characteristics of a government at the verge of collapse, of transition. This is the characteristics of the country under the president that have been in power for the past 40 years. What do we expect? All their objective is to conserve power ad infinitum, and every measure, every tool, instrument, element, things that they can use in order to conserve this power, they don't care much about it. But I want to ask these young people, look at the number of people who are dying in road accidents, in some kind of careless accidents, in hospitals. Look at the youths that are dying trying to cross the Red Sea, the Mediterranean Sea. Look at the number of youths that are dying maybe because of the Anglophone crisis or in the north. Is it compared to those that are in prison? Is it compared to those that are doing politics? Is it compared to... so the issue here is people, what they need is adequate information of how to go about this. Strategy, mobilization, having the necessary knowledge, understanding the political scenario of the country, the stakes that it takes for you to do these things, to be at the forefront, to lead, to support, to militate, you know. Talking about Stand Up for Cameroon, CRM members, the persecution of Popular Action Party members, and so on and so forth, it has its limits. There is an extent to which a government cannot go beyond. We still need to keep pushing forward. We still need to take lead. Their time is passing. Nature has its own course. It will take its course. And there will be a time that we will jubilate to say, oh, at last, we are moving into a new era, into a new republic, with a new regime, with a new government. There's no perfect government. That's true. There's no perfect country, that's true, but at least what we are advocating for here is constitutional democracy, stability, peace, meritocracy, where people can at least benefit from the effort of the government.
Before we go, some of the young Cameroonians have actually overcome the fear and they are taking actions, but the actions go in towards a direction or in a direction considered by government as terrorism. because those young people who have actually overcome the fear of being arrested and things like that are carrying guns in the bushes, fighting for their right, so to speak, fighting for one thing or the other, fighting for the independence of former British Southern Cameroons and all of that. Now, what do you think about this?
Yes, I think our strategy at the level of Popular Action Party has been non-violence. In no way do we support the use of arms to advocate for our rights. We denounce the use of arms. And that is why our party had the difficulties to re-establish itself since its bastion of support is in the conflict zone. What the youth need to know is that firearms, war, use of guns have little place in the 21st century political system and diplomatic world. And you have little support. And those supporting you are basically deceiving you, because life is not repairable like things that we fabricate. We just have to live once, and taking such decisions is not going to be very productive. It's going to be destructive. And that's the consequence of what we are seeing in our country today. Like I said at the beginning of this program, I said, if we had to continue with the non-violent manifestations despite the shootings of the government, we would have obtained more reforms than we are having now, because the country is more chaotic, with hovering clouds of uncertainty, unpredictability of the future. We don't know what will happen next, who will die next. Our own regions are underdeveloped. Nobody cares much about it. We don't know how long the war is going to take. It might be 40, 50 years war, and so on. A generation is being lost as they are uneducated, and so many others living as IDPs, refugees, and so on. This should not be what we are advocating and wishing for our society. It's easy to start war, but very difficult to end it. Like one great thinker said, it is only those who are dead that have seen the end of war. And therefore, we have no interest whatsoever to support war as a means of reclaiming rights. We think that we should use the best of the non-violent strategies that have worked for other countries in Africa, and it could work for Cameroon. We could obtain some positive results from such kind of non-violent action. Yes, 26 million plus Cameroonians, with the young population constituting more than 60% of the population. Imagine just about 10% engaging into political process, joining the political party, putting pressure. People should understand that there are some areas in Cameroon, as far as legislative and other form of election is concerned, that have recorded transparency, because the people have been rigorous in checking their ballots during such periods. People should also understand that if we hold the government accountable in a collective manner, pressurized manner, carrying out social campaigns, carrying out all the other ways that we could do the non-violent actions, we will obtain some results. So what I like to do that are holding on is, we still have the chance to see how we could mend things. You know the position of the Popular Action Party. It is for federal republic, and therefore we are fighting for that. If any other person thinks that any other form of state or complete separation is the best, we are wishing, and we have always said it is important that we come as a people under the umbrella of Anglophone people to define our future by the outcome of what we will define there, and also to discuss with the government of Cameroon representing La République du Cameroon and discuss these things. If we agree on the basis of forming this new federal republic, good, then we go ahead. If we do not agree, then we look up to.
All right, Fabrice, Lena, Secretary General of the Popular Action Party, thank you so much for your time. That's it for this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.